We're live, by the way, in 3,
2.
Seems like forever since I've talked here with you. I don't even know who you are anymore.
Just because we haven't podcast in weeks doesn't mean that we have not still spent every single moment together.
Is that a euphemism? We haven't podcasted?
Podcasted.
Whoops, that was Siri. I didn't get it either, sweetheart.
It's the Jack
and Cathy
show.
Shit show.
And there we go.
Yeah,
okay, I think it. Yeah.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, babe.
It has been 6 weeks
At least.
since our last podcast. Now, I will say something after this podcast. So we're going to launch 2 of them. Because, yeah, you know what's funny? We recorded. I forgot about it because I was looking at it.
Oh.
We recorded Kelly and Sam, and I never broadcast that one.
Oh, that's
Do you remember that
right.
podcast with them?
Yeah, I do, in the hotel room.
That was when they played the University of Michigan in March.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
So we had one in the can.
And I never produced it. Well, I shouldn't say never produced it. I didn't mix it. So I didn't put their stuff, all of our stuff together into one thing. So, yeah, I realized, holy shit, because I was looking for setting stuff up, and I went, oh my God, what's all this other video in here? And so anyway, shame on me. So after this podcast, because we're going to get us back on track again, we took some time off.
Yes, life has been a little bit busy.
Yeah, but we also let it get in the way too, sort of, right? Maybe not. I don't know. You tell me. You go ahead.
Listen, here's the deal. I don't want us to beat ourselves up about missing our podcast. I love the podcast, and I know we'll circle back to it. And if we need to take a breath from it for a minute, get back on the horse. It's kind of like a workout, you know? You can work out,
Then get fat and chubby.
And think you're never going to jump off that workout cycle, and then you do, and you just have to believe you're going to get back on it.
I
allow
do
yourself
think,
that grace of jumping off it for a minute.
I actually, as long as we can get back on. Oh, the video just stopped. Oh no, this was my biggest fear.
Ran out of space.
We have. So let's just press pause here for a second.
Okay.
Okay, babe. I think we're back on track.
You do it?
I'm so sorry about that little interruption to the podcast. So, yeah, I just had too much data stored on here. So I just got rid of some stuff. So, what were we talking about?
We're talking about whether Cathy should clean up a little bit before she records video for her podcast.
A theme before every podcast.
I know. I think it's best if I don't look. Or maybe I should take my glasses off. I look so much better to me with my glasses off. Because everything's just foggy.
I think it's okay that we took a break. I don't like doing it.
I know.
Because I think it loses momentum.
I think that's what worries you, is that we'll lose momentum, and then it to you.
I would rather
I'm guessing to you it reflects that we don't care about it. Don't care about the podcast, and I don't think that's the case.
Well, but I do.
I know you do.
Yeah, I think when you stop doing something, you can say, I don't know. I don't want to get into a massive debate with you. I just believe people do what they want to do. And so I love this podcast. It's a fun thing for me, and I know you enjoy it too.
I do. I do. And the truth is, you are the anchor for it. You do all this equipment, you do all the posts, you put it online, you are the master, and I just come sit in this chair and go blah, 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 blah.
And talk about how you look.
And talk about how shitty I look, and I probably should have showered
I want us to get, oh yeah, we'll get to that in a second if you're watching the video. I just want to get back to doing it. That's all. And I recognize we've had other things going on, and I do feel if we carve out time, because it's important, we can make use of it, of our time. Mm-hmm. So I miss doing this with you.
Yeah, me too. I love doing it with you, babe.
All right. Doing this or it?
Yes.
All righty.
I think it's healthy for our relationship too. I've said that to you. I think this is really good that we sit down. Not that you and I don't talk outside of this, but
We're
I think
rarely together lately, and our communication has been lacking.
Not even close.
I know. I just enjoy this, and so I apologize to the 3 fans that listen, particularly my mother.
Sorry, they've been wondering where we went.
So it's great to be back here, and then this week I'll get this produced by this week, and then on Monday we'll get back on schedule with getting it published every Monday, and that's when we'll introduce the interview we had with Kelly, Sam's girlfriend, and Sam when we were at the University of Michigan, which was kind of kicking off their Big Ten season, which ironically, that's how long it's been since we've done this, because it was on March 22nd that they started their Big Ten season, and now they are in their final 2 weeks of baseball, or 3 weeks. How scary is that much time has flown by? And that, I think you'll maintain or argue or whatever, that a big reason we've not been able to do the podcast is that I've been at every single weekend game. You've been at several, but I've been at every one of his games, and they've had a predominantly away schedule, which, by the way, doesn't matter for shit, given that he's in Maryland, so everything's away for me.
That's right.
It's not like he's a mile down the block or a mile away from home and just down the block. So I've been gone every Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah, that's been a factor, but we wouldn't have it any other way, because this window of baseball is so small, and it's his last year it's his 5th year playing, and it's really special. So that's a priority.
Yeah.
I think we have our priorities right.
And
most of the time.
We do. And we just got a little distracted, and that happens. And so speaking of distractions, and if you're watching the YouTube channel, or if you're just watching on Spotify or wherever, look at what is rising on the screen. Cathy McFalsley had a spill. Ironically, when we went to go watch baseball, you want to tell the story? Morning Glory?
Yeah, we were having a great morning, laughing our asses off. I was getting pissed at Jack on a little run we were on because he was making me laugh so hard I was wetting my pants. I'm like, knock it off. I get so mad when you make me laugh and wet my pants. I get really pissed.
Can you, before we go into the story of your injury, can you talk about that a little bit? Because for some reason,
so
I make you laugh so hard that you piddle like a puppy. You literally piddle.
It's so pathetic.
You're going to do it right now.
I'm not.
Piddle
but it's so
in the
pathetic.
studio.
Oh my God.
But you do. You literally, there was one time we went to go see a concert. We went to go see Camp in California. We happened to be in California and stumbled across tickets to get to the Santa Monica Bowl to see Camp.
That was fantastic.
And it was a little bit of a drive where Cathy had to go to the bathroom, and the parking was, 2 blocks away from the stadium. And I had been cracking her up, and you looked at me and you're like, I'm seriously going to piss my pants. Not just a little drip. It's going to come flooding out. I can't control it. And I did all I could for 2 blocks not to try to goat that.
You not to try to goat that?
I didn't do it. You didn't pee.
You pushed the envelope, though.
No, I'm not denying that.
Pushed the envelope.
Oh, for sure.
And I would have been so pissed at you.
You would have been.
We wouldn't have been able to go to the concert.
No, you would have soaked right through. You had just gone. You would have lost complete control.
Yeah, and we would have left. And it would have been all your fault,
but
not my bladder.
But anyway, what's funny is that I don't want anyone listening to think that Cathy's always on the brink of going to the bathroom and I push her bladder as some sort of incentive. I'll just be right. It's not like you're there.
Oh no, you think it's hilarious.
We'll
start to wet my pants.
We'll start doing. I don't know. We had. This is the irony of this whole discussion, is that we haven't podcasted in ages. We brought podcast stuff with us to podcast, right, on the road, and yet we didn't do it.
Yeah,
because we
brought it to Nebraska and we didn't do it.
We just got so caught up with just being with one another. And so we decide Sam's playing Georgetown and some other school in D.C. midweek, Tuesday and Wednesday. So I said to Cathy, you've never been to Annapolis, and Georgetown is not that far from Annapolis and all this other stuff.
Great town, Annapolis. So pretty, so adorable.
So I said, let's go to Annapolis. Let's take a midweek break, and we can do some work during the day. We'll watch games at night. So we get this flight early in the morning. We find ourselves in Annapolis at this gorgeous little hotel. If you've not been to Annapolis, highly recommend going.
Yeah.
Annapolis, Maryland, the capital. And
it's the capital?
Yeah.
I did not realize
beautiful
that.
little seaside town. It's where the U.S. Navy Naval Academy is, I believe. So we had a ball. We went to the game. They lost, sadly.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't fun.
No, it was a unfortunate loss. But anyway, the next day we decided to go work, and we sit in this beautiful cafe.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You know, when I tell a story, it's about 30 seconds, and when you tell a story, it's many chapters. I like your storytelling better.
Oh God, I thought you were criticizing it for a second.
No, I like your storytelling better.
Tell the story.
You have a whole intro.
I'm Bob Ross of storytelling.
Yes, you had some highlight to the trees, and I'm just like,
I
fell.
Just paint it, just right there. If you make a mistake, it's okay. Just
add another layer.
Add another branch. There we go. Look at that. Look at those branches. It's really nice. I remember a branch I painted.
All right.
So we find this wonderful little cafe. We're having a ball this whole trip. We travel well together.
We do.
And
mostly because you are such a great planner.
And
I go, okay.
Oh, stop. You're a good planner too, and you're a great partner, and we're great together, and blah, blah, blah. Aren't we awesome? So we're also lamenting the fact that we're getting chubby AF because we haven't been exercising at all. And we were on a track for a while where we were getting up early and exercising 4 days a week and blah and blah and blah. And so we decide, Cathy there's a long story that I don't want to get into, but we decided we're going to go running.
Yeah.
Right? And I went, and I hate running. So
but you were game, like a run 30 seconds, walk, like interval right. Running, like
you
quick
had said,
pace run and then
right.
walk and bring the heart rate down and keep.
Yeah. Right, not sprinting. Like we jog for literally 30 seconds. And your idea was, let's just ease into this to get a workout in because we didn't want to go to the fitness center. It was a beautiful day, and
wanted to get our sweat on.
So, and normally we get our sweat on in different ways. What was that for? Unnecessary. I meant going to the
foul.
I meant going to the club.
Foul.
Foul. That's a good one. So we're in this beautiful downtown area, and we start to run, and I start acting really silly, and you're doubled over.
God, you're running and you're slapping your feet on the ground.
I'm just running silly because I hate running, so I'm exaggerating every step. I'm flailing my arms. I'm doing like Forrest Gump, going, "Come on, Kath, catch me!" And she stops every block with her hands on her knees, bent over, going, "I'm peeing in my pants."
Knock it off.
And
You're making me wet my pants.
I finally say, all right, let's get serious. And we cross this little river that was by the bay in the downtown. And along comes, it's this narrow bridge that we're crossing. And along comes this cyclist head on. And Cathy and I were running side by side with one another. And we have to now go single file. So I just cut in front of her. And we say hello to this cyclist. He kind of stops and gets out of the way.
He was very kind. He actually stopped his bike because there wasn't a lot of room. He stopped his bike and leaned against the railing to kind of get out of the way. It was very, very kind of him not to try to breeze past us. And I turned my head to him to say thank you as I pass him and proceed to put my right toe into the one and only hole on the entire sidewalk. And
just caught your foot and you face plant.
Oh, so fast,
like a
so hard,
like a snowboarder catching a front edge.
I bet it wasn't even a second, and I was down on the ground. Not even. It was like toe caught. That was it.
and your left wrist didn't get the palm down. I think if both of your palms had been down, you would just scraped yourself up. In fact, you wouldn't have hit your face.
Right.
But your left palm was turned inward, and you hit the back of your wrist and fell right on the back of your wrist. That's what caught your fall.
Yeah.
Face is bleeding. First thing you asked me was,
Are my teeth okay?
Are my teeth okay?
Yeah, because I hit my nose and my lip and my chin all on the
you face
all on the
planted.
concrete. Yeah.
And then there's blood on your face. And then you roll over and you're like, I think I broke my wrist. And I look, and for those of you who don't know this, I was a former EMT. And I looked and I'm like, oh, she didn't break her wrist. It's out. It's out of alignment. It looked like Deadpool. Like we talked about that before. And so I wanted to pop it back into place because you had clearly fractured it and separated it. And so now we're 6 miles from the car. So I have to run back to the car.
Give or take.
Give or take.
Maybe 6 blocks.
5.8. But still, I had to run back to the car.
The end of the story is that Jack ran 6 miles to save my life.
Uphill, by the way.
Uphill.
And it was storming.
In the beating sun.
No. Don't you remember all the
storming?
snow that started coming down?
Snow.
It went from 68 degrees to 20.
Just when you were running those
just on
6 miles.
Just on that block. It's crazy. Are you peeing yourself right now?
Did wild animals try to attack you on the way to the car too?
So you saw. It is brutal. I have never fought a rhinoceros before, but I'm very impressed with my outcome.
Those Maryland rhinoceroses
all over the place.
They're wild.
Wild.
So yeah, Jack came to save me. He was my white knight. He sat me on a ledge and got in the car and took me to the emergency room, and
hours and hours of time. And anyway, we came home and scheduled an appointment with a doc, and Cathy needed surgery. And if I have time, babe, I'll post up here pictures of the x-rays and then the results from it. But now
that's fun viewing.
It is kind of cool. I mean, it shows
it's pretty
what
cool.
happened.
It's orthopedic surgeons. It's pretty amazing how they put you back together.
Can you imagine? We were talking about this. Can you imagine if it was like the 1800s and you fell off a horse? You're fucked.
Yeah, I don't know what they would have done.
Nothing.
Back then,
you just have a gimp hand the rest of your life.
Or you just try to push it back in place or something, and then
you're screwed.
Then wrap it with wooden planks.
Yeah, right.
Try to
you're messed.
immobilize
you're gone.
it.
We're so lucky.
Gosh.
So you had a plate installed with some pins.
Yeah, because things were in pieces, like shattered the wrist, basically. So
kind of like our relationship.
Oh, really? We got some pins and some metal plates in there now, holding it together.
Barely. After the love is gone,
what used to be right is strong.
Very nice. Is strong? Did you say
wrong?
Okay, there we go. So anyway, yeah. So now cast is off. That's how long it's been. I think that's part of the reason we didn't cast either. Get it? Cast.
Podcast because of the cast. Yeah. I was out of it. I was medicated for a good week.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh,
you were a little loopy.
Loopy.
Yeah.
Loopy.
Yeah, you were fun though.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So anyway, we're 3 weeks removed, 2 weeks past cast. You're now in your recovery.
Yep.
And so you can show the peoples again the little thing you got there.
Oh, I don't know.
So just a bandage with a brace. So we'd like to say it was you doing an ollie.
Yeah,
on a
my
skateboard
daughter.
Ramp.
Yeah, my daughter said to make up some skateboard story. She sent me a video of my move.
Yeah. What a drag.
No. Yeah, it was a drag.
Well, anyway, that's where we've been. That's why we've been gone for a while. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad you're doing better.
Yes, thank you for taking care of me.
It's always my pleasure. You will have to do the same.
We'll see.
Oh. So since this is a relationship podcast, let's go there then. Today's topic is one-way streets. You knew I was going to say that.
Yes. Yep.
Let's talk about one-way streets with Cathy Riley. I'm glad you're doing that.
It's all about me.
It is. It was truly scary though.
It was.
Yeah, it was a pretty significant injury, and so I'm glad you're feeling better and we're getting recovered. And I want to see that ring back on your hand.
Yeah.
Right now,
I had to take it off.
a little bit
the hand
too
swelled
swollen.
up. But
you were so cute. Do you remember at the hospital going, don't lose the ring. Don't lose the ring. You were getting really emotional.
Yeah, because we had to take it off because the swelling was increasing while we were sitting in the ER. Yeah. And I was like, where's the ring? Yeah. Where's the ring? Because you were just in running clothes. Like you didn't know where to put it really. Yeah. And you're like, it's okay. It's safe.
Yeah.
But one of the things we talked about in this whole injury thing is both of us we had a discussion about how we went through some physically traumatic time. You know, I had a previous surgery on a pinky that I broke, and you had kidney stones, and we shared this contrast of what it was like to kind of go through those previous moments alone.
Yeah.
And both of us very much remember just how, not surprisingly, how lonely that was to not have anybody. I was I was living in Chicago when I had this other pinky injury that required surgery. And, not life-threatening by any means, but it's just that feeling of not having someone. And that was really, so in contrast to having you there to help me and take care of me and nurture me, and just, it was awesome. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Because it's not always fun being alone. And I really appreciate you.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, babe.
Don't do it again.
All right.
Okay.
I'll try.
No, we did talk a lot about that because it's funny. I don't know if I ever told you this story. When I lived in Colorado for a stretch by myself, just outside of Denver, before I met you. In fact, the spring before I met you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I ever told you this story. It was the freakiest moment. The house that I was renting had a master bathroom, which had a tub. And it had a shower down the hall, but I was always like, well, I'm just going to go in the master because it's right there. So I didn't mind stepping into the tub, right? And to this day, I've changed the way I
step into a tub,
shower, anything, because it would happen. I stepped in, took a shower, and then had put a rug down on the floor, stepped out, but I just was very aggressive. I just got to go, got to hustle, move. My foot hit the carpet, and the carpet slipped. Oh. I slid on my back. My back hit the tub side, and my head hit the ground. Oh. And I was out for a second.
Oh.
Like, not out concussed, but like I was super dizzy.
Like ringing.
Everything was ringing.
Light.
And I remember lying there going, holy shit. We're laying there. I remember being on the ground. So I'm not sure the correct grammar. And it probably was 30 seconds. It felt like 10 minutes of just being completely incapacitated. And then I kept thinking, holy shit.
Yeah.
If this is the rest of my life, right? Yeah. I've got to be smarter when I get in and out of the tub. Right. Not that I need to have handrails everywhere. Just be more deliberate, more intentional with stuff and slow down. Woke up the next day and had bruised my ribs badly. Didn't break them like I did when we went mountain biking. But I played basketball with my friend Nick, and there was this big stripe on my back, probably 4 inches long and about 4 inches wide and about 7 to 8 inches long of the bruise. I had smacked my back that hard on the tub.
On the edge of the tub.
Yeah. I mean, my feet just went straight out from underneath me.
Yeah, you body slammed. Was it a cast iron tub?
Oh, God, yeah. It was brutal. But that's the same feeling I know you're talking about. Yeah. So, yes, I'm glad we have one another. I'm also thinking when we're not together, we still should be smart and safe and deliberate. And
we're talking like old people.
Yeah, well, we are old people.
Gonna put handbars everywhere.
So you had some. If we had commercial breaks, we would do it here. We don't have any commercials this episode because we lost all of our sponsors because we took 6 weeks off. Time to start that again. You had some things you wanted to talk about relationship-wise because this is a relationship podcast.
Yeah, there was an Esther Perel. She's so brilliant. She's a, relationship guru.
Do you want me to play it?
Sure.
You want me to play it? Okay, let me Let me rewind this. I don't know how to do this, Kath. I do know how to do this. I'm just clumsy right now. So let me try to rewind it. All right. Are we ready? And then I'll press play. Okay, here we go. And then you're going to comment on this, correct?
Okay.
Is it good or bad for a relationship to have a fight from time to time?
Oh, it's a must. It's obligatory. But even if it's every day, the question is not so much the fighting. The question is really the repair. I think relationships follow a cycle of harmony, disharmony, and repair. And people fight about the same stuff. What they're fighting about is not the towel or the bathroom or who takes care of what or who takes the children every day or who is always late. What they're fighting about are actually three key groups of themes that are underneath those plot lines, which is power and control, closeness and care, and respect and recognition.
Is it good or bad for a...
I won't remember those three things in this discussion, but I think what stood out for me is this whole idea of fighting in a relationship. And we've talked about this before, where I came from a previous relationships and life, really, where I was very unused to, I would run from a fight. I didn't know how to fight. I thought that fights were the beginning of the end. I didn't know what it looked like to really resolve. You just like sort of move on, and I think that was part of the issue in my marriage previously, that we didn't communicate enough to even fight. And I can see now how that's important. And in the relationship with you, we have fights. We have...
You're wrong a lot.
Okay, everybody. Okay, we're done now. No, we have fights. And it's interesting, too, that Esther Perel in that little clip says it's often about the same stuff. And I really think it is. It's often the same. It might be the subject might be the towel or the coffee or the whatever, but the theme of what's going on underneath is oftentimes the same. And you and I have worked to be better at fighting, and we have talked openly about how important it is to fight. We see it as a fight, and oftentimes we're proud of ourselves for how we resolved it and came out on the other side.
We're kind of corny that way.
Yeah.
It really is funny lately. May I interrupt you?
Oh, God, add to it.
It's really funny that way because lately when we have a disagreement and then we repair pretty quickly, we both sit there and go, God, we did a really good job.
Yeah. Look at us. So
yeah,
big.
and then we both go, I'm really sorry for fighting. I am too. How did we get there? I don't know. But we did a really good job.
And it's hard. I don't enjoy fighting. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm like, yeah, here comes a good fight. I don't like it. I really don't like it. I'd like to avoid it still. But the truth is you really can't. So I've worked on...
well, it's funny you just said that. May I interrupt you again? That's the one I sent you. So you sent one to me, and then I sent... hold on a second. I sent one to you... what was the one I sent you with? Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. Hold on. I'm trying to read this real quick. This is it. So then I sent you one. By the way, this wasn't. I don't want anyone to think we do tit for tat stuff. You sent me Esperel. I sent you the Gottmans.
Well,
it's
here's one.
Well,
better.
Here's what I think you should. It's more about how I think what we've done better in our fighting lately is self-awareness and trying to get to the core of what's really bothering us.
Yeah.
Because like Esther says, it's not the dishes were put away. So I'm really frustrated because I haven't connected with you lately or whatever it is. But we're saying something that we're feeling and the other person's acknowledging that feeling. Whether they understand or agree with it, they're acknowledging that the other person's having it. And I just had an interaction with my son, Sam, recently where you were there. We were at Nebraska, and I had said something that really got under his skin, and I didn't mean it to be that way for sure. However, it really affected him, and he said, "I don't appreciate that you said that." And I have so many options at that point, right? And one of them is, hold on a second, I'm trying to explain why I feel this way. That's irrelevant at that point. He doesn't appreciate that I said something, and what did I say? Remember, I went, "I'm really sorry." I said that was strong of me to present that to you in a discussion we were having, and right away, then he said, "Thank you." And then he even said, if you recall, he said something along the lines of, "I know why you said it, because you're worried about this. It just still hurts the same." And I went, "Okay, you're right. I've got to be more mindful of that." Bam, done. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, can I play this thing from the Gottmans then to relate to this? Am I talking too much again?
No.
Say yes.
Shut up.
Just say yes. Okay. 3 rules. 3 rules.
3 typical behaviors for couples who made it work, who made lasting relationships. Here's what they did. Step 1, they always started with I, and it was usually I'm upset, or I'm worried, or I'm angry. So it was I plus some kind of feeling. And then about what? Step 2 is about what. And the about what part was really interesting, because they wouldn't say, "I'm upset that you're such an idiot." They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't go blaming, right? They would say something that was, again, more factual. They talk about the facts. I'm upset that the garbage hasn't been taken out. I'm angry that there's a new dent in the car. I'm furious that the bills haven't been paid. Okay? So they were not describing their partner. They were describing themselves and then describing the situation they were upset about. And finally, the third step is that they would say what they needed. How could their partner make it better? How could their partner shine for them? 3 rules.
And so that's all good, right? Can I just throw in some things? Because I wish the Gottmans were here to meet with us, but given the fact that our
We'll try to book them for next time.
Given the fact that our podcast has stopped, we have no sponsors, and we've lost all of our revenue. What I think...
Slight exaggeration, but continue.
What I feel happens in those situations, that's awesome that one partner leads that way. I'm upset that the dishes aren't done, and it would really help if we put a schedule together so that we can both do the dishes. Right there, it's really key for the partner to me, the partner has to do one thing, because there's multiple routes. A negative route is, are you saying I don't do the garbage because I took, now we're
Are you serious right now?
Right.
Yeah.
Or, yes, I hear you. Because that really, in that moment,
even though in your brain you can be going, are you serious right now?
Right.
I took it out like the last 3 weeks.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think I do feel that that's what you and I have gotten much better at.
Yeah, that's not always easy. Not going to lie. It's not always easy.
No, because you're going, why are they feeling this way right now? Jesus, I see the circumstances X.
Because part of my programming is based on the idea that I haven't always spoken up in previous relationships. So if I ever feel like I'm having to squash the dialogue that's going on in my head in order to acknowledge the other person's feelings and then not trip into the reasons why it seems unfair to me.
Right.
That's truly not easy, because that contradicts in my head my voice, and so I truly wrestle with that sometimes. I oftentimes. And
it's hard to step out of yourself when you feel you've done essentially nothing wrong, and yet there your partner is wounded in some way. Right? It's hard to step into that place of, did I hurt them? What? And so, again, giving that example that I said between Sam and I talking about something when we were in Nebraska, There are so many moments for bad exchanges. And to me, it all started with, all right, this person said something, I'm going to listen. And I have to listen without the need to respond. I have to, by the way, I'm not saying you have to be subservient to those things all the time either. It's just being able to be patient and saying, all right, this person is feeling a certain way and I have to acknowledge it. Because isn't that what we want or no?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And the question is sometimes do you think it's appropriate to, in the moment, make sure that other person feels heard? Is there also a space to say, hey, there are other things I need to talk about this situation. Can we address them another time? Or do you just leave it? Because sometimes it feels unresolved.
I like the question. I can tell you between you and me, what I don't like is that. Because then it feels like you're just going to wait till you have a chance to pounce. Right. And sometimes I just want.
But is that a fair? Is that your programming?
Well, I do it in the reverse to you. So if you've noticed, there's sometimes I'll wait 2 or 3 days and say, hey, a couple days ago, this situation happened. I've had a chance to think about it. Let me rephrase it and suggest something. Dr. Alexander Solomon, who I love quite a bit, has always said, give things a moment. Nothing is that pressing, right? We're not in an emergency room where we're fixing
that helps me.
Yeah, give things a moment. So, and it's not give your partner necessarily a moment. It's give yourself a moment, because when you have that thing bubbling up, that's a trigger inside of you that your partner had no idea they did. Right? Unless it's intentional, but that's a totally different story. We're not talking about intention.
That is a different story. If it's
we're not talking about, I know that this bothers you, so I'm going to do it. Like, I know that you laugh a lot and you might pee, so I'm going to do that.
Why do all roads circle back to Cathy wetting her pants? I just, if we could get off that theme.
We will stop. So, good thing no one sees us all the time, because they're like, make her pee.
Make her pee.
Can you do it? like it's
a
some circus act.
Like I'm your monkey.
Right.
Make it pee.
Got little things swirling around. You're sitting there dancing. I feel and I'm articulating it poorly, and I hope I get the context. Dr. Solomon will say, when we start to feel that bubble, don't ignore it. Just don't address it. Let it sit there for a while and start asking yourself, why am I feeling this way? What is generating here, as opposed to have to have your voice heard. So in a circumstance, for example, if you say, I'm really hurt that you did XYZ, or I'm really upset at this circumstance, I could use your help with that. Rather than me go, what the fuck? It's much better for me to sit there and listen. Right. So my feeling is, at least between you and I prefer if it's not held on, because it comes across sometimes, at least when you and I are fighting, that it's you've got to cross the finish line too with something. And that diminishes how I'm feeling then. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, it does. I can see that. It's, I just sometimes don't know what to do with my voice then, my thoughts in it. It's hard to put them away, because then it just feels like I'm doing exactly what I've always done, is not speak up.
Well, but sometimes silence is the better method. For example, in the Sam scenario,
I'm sure sometimes.
Yeah, in the Sam scenario, when I said what I said to him, and you recall it, and I don't want to go down the path for everybody else, but it wasn't mean. But when I said it, he got really upset at it. And I could sit there and go, well, but the truth is X, and here's the facts, and this is going down. And Sam, I got to be able to say these things without you getting upset because I say them, right? That to me is a race to the bottom, because then he's going to go, I still don't like it. Well, you got to see what we start challenging then, if you can hear it this way, because this is how it feels to me, and it seems to me at least. If I challenge him, what I'm now doing is trying to tell him that his emotions are invalid. That the way you're feeling about what I'm saying is overkill, is an exaggeration, is more than necessary. Because I'm going to keep trying to justify why I said what I said, or why I'm feeling what I'm feeling. Does that make sense where I'm going? So if I dived back into the discussion saying, hold on a second, I said the following things for the following reason, boom, I just cut him down a peg. My emotion isn't that important, or worse, my emotion is overkill to what you just said to me, Dad. I'm overreacting. And by saying instead, I get it. That hurts you. I'm sorry. I'll be more mindful of those types of things. It then allowed him a chance to say, well, I know why you said it. It's because you're caring about X. It still feels bad hearing it. Mm-hmm. Gotcha. So
Right.
See what I mean?
Right.
That I don't know what do I need to have from me at that point, I guess. That's what I'm going to ask you. Like, what do you think what do I need from me then at that point?
What
Like,
do I need from me?
Well,
I didn't follow that.
what do I need from myself there? Because I think that's where you struggle, is that little piece right there where you want to still be able to say, well, okay, let me talk about my feelings though right now, because I know I hurt you, but I want to tell you I didn't mean to hurt you that much. To me, it feels like the reason we have discussions, if I'm going down a path that's hurting you, tell me to stop. But sometimes I feel in the moments where you want to have your feelings expressed, it's because it feels like you're surprised that you hurt me. And in that surprise, you want to lessen the surprise for yourself, meaning, I really didn't mean to hurt you this way. Let me explain why I didn't want to hurt you. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
You tell me.
because that's come up in our discussion, so it's familiar what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think that what it feels like for me sometimes is that, I'm hurt too in this situation. Some moment happened and I got upset and my upset got you upset, or whatever however it unfolded. And I sometimes feel that, I don't get to say what I'm upset about, or that doesn't get to be acknowledged, because that only takes away from your upset. It doesn't. And so I think I've actually talked to you about the idea that, can you express how you're upset, and then I express how I'm upset, and then we both say to each other, I can see how you felt that way. I'm really sorry I had a role in making you feel that way. I don't mean to do X, Y, or Z, and I'm sorry. And then it can also be the other way, where we both say something like that.
I sort of agree with you. I feel in moments when we have fights where this comes up more frequently is when I lead with, that hurt me. So to me, and maybe I'm being overly persnickety here, I'm going to keep coming back to the Sam situation. I was upset at something. I shared it with Sam. He said, whoa, that hurt me. Mm-hmm. So I feel what happens in the reverse is we'll be doing something. You'll say something that's hurtful to me, or I'll hear something that's hurtful, and I'll go, whoa, that hurt me. And rather than getting a damn sorry, I get, well, let me explain why I hurt you. That to me is where it unravels.
In my mind, it's not, let me explain why I hurt you.
Right.
That frames it in a way that there was some intention, which is probably not what you mean. But
no. It is exactly what I mean. Say it again. Say what you just said. In my mind, see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, right. We have different perspectives of how it feels.
No, we don't have different perspectives on how it feels. We have our own feelings.
Yes.
And so if I say, I am hurt by what just happened, mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if your perspective is not to hurt me. Right?
Right.
Let me rephrase that. I think what gets lost in conversation with us is the fact that you had no intention of hurting me, and you did, and therefore that creates a traumatic, however big it is, in you. Whoa, wait a minute. I didn't. What it comes across to me is, you're overreacting to what I just did. So let me explain myself. And then I hear that as, okay, so continue to tell me that my feelings aren't valid. And if you're to say right now, well, wait a minute, I have feelings too, that's not the topic. I'm telling you, I'm feeling invalidated. And if I say it again, I'm being invalidated. I'm saying again, I'm being invalidated. There's nothing you can say in that moment that makes me feel valid other than validating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Am I making any sense?
It's kind of wordplay a little bit, but I get the
I'm
idea.
truly trying not to word salad
I don't know if
it.
the listener does, but
I'm not trying to word salad this. I feel that when we're both at play and we're both struggling with something, that's different than when, like, for example, last night I brought your energy level down. I think this is a good example. I brought your energy level down, right? And because I was upset at the Verizon shit and the cell phone stuff and all these things were making me frustrated, that I could sit here and say 1,000 times a Sunday, you have to get better at things when I'm upset. Instead, I led with, I'm really sorry. I've got to control my energy better. I'm sorry. Right?
mm-hmm.
And then you said, I've got to get better at controlling my emotions.
Right.
Or reacting differently to that. And I went, well, I've got to be mindful of things too. Do you see where it's different? Because your emotions were at the forefront. You were affected by it. Doesn't, you're not digging this at all. Like in your whole...
I'm processing.
Okay.
I'm processing. I'm a slow processor. You know that. So I'm listening and... No, I think that's accurate. I think that's accurate, what you just said.
Well, in the moment last night, I'm frustrated by all the work I've had to do to get our business's cell phone stuff up and running. It's been 6 weeks of nonstop shit. And so I finally just got really angry at the rep, and in sharing that story, it really overwhelmed you because it was a pretty aggressive thing. And I have two choices in my mind. I try to be a little binary sometimes. I can either say, chill, Kath, or fuck, I affected Kath. And so I chose the latter. Follow what I'm getting at?
I do. I do.
That moment, chill, Kath would not have been effective for us.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
So,
and to your point, the fact that you were like, I recognize that I've affected you right now and I'm sorry, does open the door for me to acknowledge, you know what, I've got to get better at how I process this, because what your intensity was not directed at me. You were merely telling me a story, but I take that energy and I internalize it and I wear it and I feel it. And I've got to get better at saying, this isn't about me, this conversation. And
so to now add to your point, when you ask the question, and maybe it's a nuance of language of how I'm affected by it, and others would react differently, so I can only speak to how I'm affected. In that moment, were I to say to you quickly after I acknowledge your feelings, hey, when we have some time, though, I want to talk about how I'm affected by this too. That feels to me a diminishment of your emotions. So I just let you have it and wait till the dust settled before it finally came up with you saying, I understand how it wasn't directed at me. And then I said, yeah, when I affect you this way, I feel then really guilty. Now we can talk about my emotions because you've had the chance to process it. And sometimes it feels when we say, all right, you can have your emotion right now, keep it on track because at 2:45 I need to talk about mine. It's literally saying, great, now I got to wait in 45 minutes from now. So in other words, you don't give a shit about what I'm saying. It's maybe it's nuanced perception.
That now we're watching the clock until it's my turn.
Yeah, that's different. That's different than, we're not resolving this. We're fighting right now. Can we just put it on the table? Because we're in a bad place. We're both racing nowhere. That's different. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speaking of which, want to do a card?
Yeah.
Which one do you want to do? The healing edition?
Let's do the healing edition. I think it's sort of on point with
each
the
do a card or one
way.
card to discuss among us.
Let's each do a card.
Each do a card. Pick a card, any card.
All right. Oops, I got two.
You can take two.
I'll take this one.
All right.
All right, we'll see if we like it.
You go first, me go first. Rock, paper,
I'll go
scissors?
first. What's a memory you wish we could relive together again and why?
Oh, I love that. What's a memory you wish we could relive together again and why? There's so many.
I know, right?
There's really so I've had so many. I'm going to start to cry right now. Oh, I'm really getting emotional.
Oh, babe.
I love if you listen to our podcast, Cathy talks often about growth rings and how our relationship is like a tree of growth rings. It just keeps expanding.
Mm-hmm.
There's too many. I can't pick one. There's so many times at my apartment, our first date. I actually think of the time we had a massive fight where we thought we were going to break up, and we solved it. Getting this house together, binge watching TV shows. I just love you, and I love being with you, and I love that we continue to create memories. I don't know. Can you point to one? I can't point to one.
Well, the one that popped into my head was our first date.
Oh, I would relive that over and over again. For sure.
I actually think we are.
We do,
in a way,
though.
because we haven't stopped talking, and our first date was 6.5 hours, and we talked our butts off, and yeah, so I think that would be mine. So
I've always just had so much fun with you. You know what I would
agree.
relive again? I just thought of it now. I
What?
would relive Europe.
with my family.
Your family was impactful for sure when we took our side trip to Switzerland.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would relive that.
Yes.
That moment in Switzerland and Lucerne and then that evening in Paris where we watched rugby, the rugby championship.
Yeah, that was fun.
When we went for runs in the morning or whatever you want to call it, walks in the morning in
Yeah.
Paris.
Yep.
If I could rewind to that every day, I would.
We
do
will.
that. Yeah.
We've only just begun, babe.
What makes me me?
So I'm answering what makes Jack Jack.
I guess so. Or what makes you? I could say what makes you you. We could do both.
Well, I suppose it's about answering for the. I don't know. Should you answer for yourself?
I think you
That's
should answer for the other
interesting.
person. What makes me me?
Huh.
I'm asking the question of you, so you have to answer. About
What
me.
makes Cathy Cathy?
No, I'm saying what makes me.
What
me.
makes Jack Jack?
Mhm.
Okay. I think the first thing I think about is your self-awareness, that you are very sure of who you are and how you want to show up in this world. And I certainly really love that about you. There is not that you don't have your insecurities, but I think there's a confidence about you and that high self-awareness of who you are, what you're capable of, your very clear sense of what's right and what's wrong. And that's what comes to mind first.
Can I answer about you?
No. Okay, we're done.
No.
Just kidding. Go.
What comes to mind first instantly is your kindness, your heart. And I thought of something. You're just so much more of a magnet of positivity and light that it's such a contrast for me because I don't feel that way. But I don't. I think that's where we are contrasting considerably. You are such a positive source of energy, which is why I think you're the face of our business. It's just you generate light and you absorb it from other people. They're drawn to you. That's like a moth to one of those bug zappers.
I like that.
And I've found it really interesting that we went to a real estate meeting yesterday, right? And you walked in ahead of me. So I think I had to go to the bathroom. Or no, we walked in together. And I could feel this tension about me. I don't know if you sensed it. I just didn't want to be there. Like I don't like, it's not the industry or the people. It's the crowd. Isn't that funny? And you were just glowing and everyone loves Cathy. And that's what makes me admire you a lot. I wish I had that skill. I went into a little pod in the office, closed the door, just worked, and was.
And we're happy.
Oh my
You were
God, I was a
happy.
pig in shit. So
Yeah.
I wish I had that quality, because I don't know that I'll ever have it. And I know when we're together, our light shines brighter. It's because of you. Your kindness and your heart is
Thank you, babe.
a massive light.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. All right.
We did a podcast.
What?
What?
See you in 10 weeks.
Oh, I hope not.
No.
All right. So next week we got, this one will come out in a couple days so today's Wednesday, May 1st. Get this out by maybe tomorrow, and then next week Sam and Kelly.
All right.
The
Sounds
interview.
good.
All right. On that note.
Peace. You just listened to another episode of the Jack and Cathy Shit Show. All recording, engineering, and production provided by us. Connect with the podcast on Instagram at Jack and Cathy Shit Show for more insight into our shit show of a life. This episode is proudly brought to you by Pint Productions.
Point.